before we move on, how did you navigate? I think most of us are aware Los Angeles had sort of a red and blue sort of culture. How did you
Yeah.
navigate to avoid being in caught up in that situation?
Because I was of it, but not in it. I grew up in the neighborhood, but I was not a quote unquote, real, I wasn't a gang member, but all the gang members were my friends. And at times, yeah, was I involved in some gang activity here and there in my life? Yeah. That was only because those are my friends.
Mhm.
And if somebody came to our neighborhood and messed with one of them, then you mess with all of us type of thing.
Yeah.
And so I grew up in a what they would call considered the blue neighborhood, the Crip neighborhood.
Okay.
And DJ Quick grew up and he's from the blood side,
Yeah.
But I don't think he had, there was no threat, between me and him. Like he didn't look at me like as some Crip because I wasn't. And even though he's a blood, I didn't look at him like that. I looked at him as a musician, a producer. Like, he was Quincy Jones with me. I didn't care if he was a blood or a Crip or none of that. I wasn't there for that. You know what I'm saying? So most places that I went where that was happening, I wasn't there for that anyway. So I really didn't buy into it or pay much attention. I felt like if you were a blood or a Crip, if you stepped to me the wrong way, it's gonna be what it's gonna be, no matter who you are.
Oh God, goodness.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I never really bought into that whole thing.
Yeah, I guess, I think Death Row is probably a place where we noticed that there was a like when we're here to create music and make money. So you did have the mixture. And I guess but for the
Yeah.
rest of us, just to see were people able to not be affiliated officially with anyone and still be, move around because I know in some areas, I think I went in Nigeria when when I was there briefly in some universities, when there were different gangs, you almost forced to join. And you couldn't, they say, oh, you're big and strong. You're going to join us. Didn't have you couldn't get out of it.
Yeah.
You weren't pressured in either way to have to be part of it, or could they just let you
No.
be?
No, they pretty much let me be. I had to, on quite a few occasions, fight, because if you're not with them, then they think maybe you're
Yeah.
snitching on them or and so pretty much everybody in my neighborhood, at least once I had to fight all of them until
Wow.
they figured out, like, yeah, maybe just leave him alone. Because I'm not scared of you. Like I grew up with my father in my home. I was much more scared of him than I was of anybody and these kids in my neighborhood. I don't,
Yeah.
y'all could be all in the game. My dad told me if I ever hear you getting jumped in or joining a gang, he says, I'm gonna kill you myself. That's all I needed. I didn't need nothing else. I'm like, listen, I don't care what y'all do. I ain't scared of y'all. I will beat you within the inch of your life if I go in this house and let my dad get a hold of me. That's not gonna happen.
What difference does it, because you mentioned something that they said I've interviewed, God knows how many guests, and that father figure, very few have mentioned having a father at home. What difference did that make, do you think, for you, knowing that you had a dad and mom at home, and you didn't grow up in, the say, just with your mom?
Well, just in the time that I lived in South Central, my group of friends, there was only one. Actually, no. None of them had. None of them lived in a home with both parents, except for me. Most of them are all dead or in jail, except for one guy that I know. And I think that is the difference because your father is where you learn either by him teaching you or by you watching him certain attributes. I learned how to deal with my anger and my disappointment and my frustration from my father, from a man.
Mm.
If you are in a single parent home when you just live with your mother, you learn as a man how to deal with your anger from a woman. Women are different than men. Women can go from 0 to 100 like that.
Mm.
But the reason why it's not as volatile is because there's no testosterone behind it.
Mm.
When you add testosterone to a short fuse, you have a bomb.
Mm.
If you put that same scenario and you multiply it and you have 5 or 6 or 12 guys with that same story, you have bloodshed.
Wow.
Somebody steps on my shoe and I stab him. The punishment does not fit the crime. But because I learned how to deal with my disappointment, anger, frustration from my dad, somebody steps on my shoe. I say, hey man, watch what you doing, man. I just bought these shoes. I brush my shoe off and keep going. But somebody who learned how to deal with their anger from their mother, who just goes, you stepped on my shoe, it's a different thing. See what I'm saying? So yeah, I believe that was a lot of the difference between me and a lot of my friends, where if you can insult me if you want, I don't care. But it's when if you put your hands on me, then that's a different story. But you can talk all you want. I don't care nothing about that. It's not not gonna bother me either way.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of Halftime Chat. Please remember to subscribe, share, and comment. But most importantly, why don't you become a member of Halftime Chat? We've got amazing videos, amazing perks, and being able to support the channel. But anyway, thanks for watching. Take care.
I never participated in that kind of.
And somewhere in between
us for even loving us, on which I didn't miss you with.
What was it like growing up?
She's still making an impact on 4 houses down.
I have a couple of pieces.
Trying to get this one and that one.
That works for you, but just for me,
No, okay, you're okay.
They don't understand what Jonas boys and men and all spirits.
Play it.
I mean, I love all different genres.